When the sun rises, it splashes its golden rays across the hills to announce a new day. From age to age and across the races, not many people can resist the commanding pull of the rising sun. And they came. From east to west, and from the north to the south, to acknowledge the rising hope in Anambra State. Anambra State has caught the attention of the world. But how did it all start? How did Willie Obiano and his team change the story of Anambra State from horror and despair to hope and contentment?
With all our hearts, we pray and ask, God bless Anambra, God bless the shining light that we bear. We're the only ones to make her brighter, the only ones to make her better, the only ones to make Anambra shine. With our sweat and blood, every breath of our lives, with trust in God, we will lift our homeland high. We believe in togetherness, we'll build a land of progress. Lift the spirit of Anambra, lift the spirit of Anambra, lift the spirit of Anambra, State we love.
As governor of Anambra State.
When Chief Willie Obiano assumed office as governor of Anambra State, he came prepared. He came with a clear vision and mission statement.
We came prepared. I crafted a vision for the state and a mission statement. And of course, we had a blueprint that is built around my 12 enablers and my 4 pillars. The vision I crafted for Anambra State is that I want Anambra State to be first choice investment destination and a hub for economic and commercial activities. My mission for Anambra State is, to create a socially stable, business-friendly environment where indigenes and foreigners alike can create wealth-creating opportunities in the state.
The pillars of Governor Willie Obiano's economic blueprint include agriculture in its mechanized form, industrialization, trade and commerce, and oil and gas. However, Governor Willie Obiano understood that in actualizing his vision for an economically viable state, the key economic enablers would have to be established and strengthened. These include security, education, electricity, health, roads with furniture, housing, the environment, transport, finance, women's welfare, tourism, youth development, and entrepreneurship, among others. Knowing that no meaningful development can be achieved without a peaceful, safe and secure state, Governor Obiano tackled security head-on, adopting a new security architecture. He created an efficient and well-motivated task force known as Operation Ochapu, made up of a crack team of combat-ready officers drawn from the police, the army, the navy and the NDLEA, and invested it with the mandate to cleanse Anambra State of all vestiges of crime and criminality.
Security is number one on the enabler list, because without security, you cannot do anything. Nothing will work. You are dead on arrival without security. So I gave that a lot of push and, of course, decisively let the criminals, kidnappers, armed robbers know that there's a new sheriff in town, state in Nigeria.
The result was instantaneous. Anambra has now become Nigeria's safest state. It has become the postcard for safety and security. Stories of kidnapping now belong to distant lands, and the once notorious Upper Iweka that used to be a den of robbers has become a garden of peace. To secure Anambra from the incidents of robbers who use the waterways to launch attack from the neighboring states, the Obiano administration donated a gunboat to the Nigerian Navy outpost in Onitsha. To the Nigerian police, he handed over 25 ultra-modern smart cars with command and control centers, special kits. The patrol cars can be seen parked in strategic locations throughout the state, day and night. This accounts for the sharp rise in economic and social activities witnessed in the state in recent times. Governor Obiano's philosophy of an all-inclusive government is also a bold effort in consensus building and servant leadership. To give flesh to this initiative, he periodically engages in the Anambra in a stakeholders summit or an informal evening of interaction to intimate them on his activities and policies, as well as get feedback and opinions from captains of industry, traditional rulers, renowned professionals and technocrats, top diplomats, civil society, and women and youth groups.
In Governor Willie Obiano, we have a governor with a vision for the state, and much more important than that, with a strategy for the state.
So all in all, one has to speak up very fairly that he's been absolutely supportive, respectful, and interactive. He engages with us, with the traditional institute in Anambra State.
So I was lifted up to see progress in Anambra and to see the effort even made to collaborate across the Niger to make that continue to happen. I think this needs to be continued, needs to be strengthened so that the appropriate levels of investment flows will go in there, because that region, which I like to call the Niger Basin, should become the Rhine Valley of Africa.
Governor Willie Obiano demonstrated a remarkable foresight when, as if he anticipated the crash in oil price and the attendant hardship faced by many states in the Federation, he carried out extensive reforms to reposition Anambra State as an economically viable state. He revitalized the revenue sources of the state, plugged all the leakages, and weeded out 800 ghost workers that had hitherto bled the state dry.
One of the basic parameters for measuring how well a governor is doing in Nigeria today is whether the person is able to meet salary payments. And when you're governing a non-oil producing state without derivation money coming to you, and you're able to meet payroll and still get some projects going at this time, I think it's commendable.
He started to think about his budget even while he was campaigning. His manifesto is the nucleus of the plan he has for Anambra State, which is in line with the international best practices of budgeting, is to prepare a 4-year state development plan. And from that 4-year development plan, we refer to that to take our annual budgeting each year.
You know, the way things are in this country, it's almost a miracle how the servants of the state are being taken care of. The salaries are coming regularly, as and when due. You also are aware that he authorized a pay raise last year, which is still being paid consistently, along with pensions and allowances. He's giving us buses, mass transit buses, for public servants to ease their transportation problems.
In his bid to increase the state's IGR, Governor Obiano repositioned the state's Internal Revenue Board for better service delivery. He also ensured that Anambra was the first state to operate the single treasury account. To ensure effective revenue collection, the state government is now deploying the use of technology to ensure that all internally generated revenue are properly accounted for.
Anambra Ekenemunu. Following the formal announcement by the federal government that the nation's economy has gone into a recession, I consider it my duty as your governor to distill the message of the economic situation of the country down to the grassroots. However, following this development too, I'm happy to announce to you that I have come up with a stimulus package that will ease the pain of the recession and help our dear state bounce back to prosperity.
With this declaration, Governor Obiano took on the leadership challenges of cushioning the impact of the recession on Anambra, especially the low-income earners. Governor Obiano understands that in a recession, the direct injection of funds into the system will impact positively on the citizenry. Therefore, his intervention in 20 million naira to each community infrastructure for jobs project is creating its intended effect. Under this program, each of the 182 communities in Anambra State is expected to select a development project that is dear to it. Then, the state would fund the building of these projects while the community will supply the labor. This program is intended to alleviate the suffering of the rural poor by putting some immediate cash into the hands of many families that are involved in the construction.
The way we've done it in Anambra State is that this 20 million community project, by the time we finish, there's a multiplier effect of money. Since the contractor is from the community, the workers are from the community, more than likely the vendors for the projects would also be from the community. So that by the time you pay your workers, pay the vendors, the money has gone from you, the contractor, to these other people.
So we've had communities energized, excited. This kind of offer hasn't come before ever. Each community, a 20 million naira project, socially acceptable to the consensus of the community. They will have to own the project, they have to supervise the project, and it's for their use in perpetuity.
According to their needs, various communities chose civic centers and community halls which will boast of facilities such as libraries and cyber cafes. The halls will also provide a conducive place for the various town unions to hold meetings conducting their affairs. Some chose abattoirs with potable water that will ensure better hygiene for meat processing. In some communities, new school blocks, teacher staff rooms, examination halls, youth corpers lodge were chosen, while some chose science labs for biology, physics and chemistry. To provide safe access across the Omambala River, Mbunando too opted to build this pontoon. Now the people can take their vehicles and goods home.
To be very, very sincere, we have seen the light through this very pontoon, because all along we had been cut off because of inaccessibility of road. Until we did all we could to put this road, but there was no pontoon to cross over. But when this project was announced, we were very happy to use our own to provide this pontoon. So the government that have done this, I am very, very happy, and the community is very happy. Everybody is rejoicing together with, in short, we are very, very we appreciate what the governor is doing.
Other communities chose to build new health centers that will have modern facilities, new wards, new doctors and nurses' rooms, and clean potable water. Some chose to reconstruct and expand community markets by building new market structures to boost commerce in their localities. In just a few months, the impact of the 20 million naira community project is reverberating throughout Anambra State. Governor Obiano has also shown that he has the right sensibility to lead a frontline state like Anambra. Before the Obiano administration, Awka had absolutely no landmark and nothing by which anyone could remember it. But happily, the story has changed. Awka is fast shedding its provincial outlook and wearing the looks of a modern state capital. This is one of the promises Governor Obiano made when he resumed office. The two magnificent flyovers in Aroma and Kwata, and the third in Amobia, are ambitious landmarks that point to the emergence of an avant-garde capital city. The three bridges, with a total length of approximately 700 meters, are a monument to the entrepreneurial gift and pioneering spirit of Anambra and an enduring legacy of the Willie Obiano administration. Each time the suspended towers of the flyovers sparkle to life, spraying dazzling rays into the night to dispel the surrounding darkness, they light up the hopes and aspirations of Anambra, reminding them that they can dream their future into a dazzling reality. One of the pragmatic steps taken by Governor Obiano to actualize his vision of a befitting state capital for Anambra was to create the Awka Capital Territory Development Authority, ACTDA. The agency has not only concluded the aerial mapping of the 10 square kilometer that makes up the Awka Capital Territory, but went further and area mapped the entire state. Anambra is the second state to do so in Nigeria. Governor Obiano's intention is to create new precincts such as the proposed business district area and the Millennium City project, among others. This will move Awka from a mononucleus capital to a bigger multi-nucleus modern city.
You know, part of our mandate anyway is to do infrastructure, rapid infrastructure development within the existing areas, and then going into the virgin areas to establish new precincts, which would be mini cities on their own, and then connecting all these different precincts by excellent infrastructure, road network, and so on.
To actualize this, the Obiano-led government has signed MOUs with interested investors to build well-planned modern estates in various parts of the state, including low-cost housing for civil servants.
So I think word is getting out that this is a viable place to come and do business. If you check the value of all the investments coming in as a result of these 7 MOUs, it totals almost $1 billion. And is going to create jobs in excess of 5,000 people, both direct and indirect jobs. When they are completed, this administration would have in 4 years done what other administrations in this state have not done since the state was started 25 years ago.
Similarly, an ambitious project, Operation Light Up Anambra, which will light up major routes, cities and communities in the state, has commenced and is still ongoing. This is to beautify the street as well as give Anambra a greater sense of safety. Street lights have been installed on major streets and strategic locations. The residents are fast adjusting to a nearly 24-hour lifestyle with fancy bars, fast food restaurants, and a fast-evolving youth culture. The creation of the Anambra State Investment Promotion and Protection Agency, ANSIPA, has turned out to be a masterstroke as it has inevitably become the workstation of Obiano's economic blueprint. ANSIPA not only consolidates the governor's 4 pillars of development, but also gives a huge boost to wealth creation and economic growth. Governor Obiano's one-stop investment streamroller has attracted several investors to various sectors of the state, ranging from agriculture, energy and power, to housing, health, commerce, hospitality, and auto manufacturing industries. It is not surprising that Anambra ranks among states regarded as top investment destinations in Nigeria, as the Obiano administration has attracted investments valued at over $4 billion in direct foreign and local investments into the state.
His Excellency dreams, wakes up and thought job, job, job. The least common particle of this ANSPA and investment is to create jobs for the youth, create employment, direct and unemployment. And for each investment that is brought, we must factor the estimated number of jobs, directly and indirectly. It's one of the main factors that determine whether the investment will be attracted, whether the investment is worthwhile the state.
In fulfillment of his continuity promise, Governor Obiano has completed and commissioned the ultra-modern shopping mall in Onitsha. This shows his determination to bring a world-class shopping experience to Anambra by providing for leisure they often seek in Lagos, Abuja, or outside the country. The state's government has continued to invest resources in creating an enabling environment that is boosting trade and commerce in the state. For added security and surveillance, the existing markets throughout the state are being upgraded with modern conveniences and have been equipped with CCTVs. The fire of the agricultural revolution kindled by Governor Willie Obiano has placed Anambra State on the agricultural map of the continent. Anambra State made headlines when it exported its first consignment of vegetables, ogo, and onubu, bitter leaf, in a commercial quantity to the United Kingdom. This marked the turning point in Governor Obiano's quest to make Anambra State one of the top 3 agricultural states in Nigeria. The Ministry of Agriculture, in collaboration with technical partners with expertise in exporting produce from Nigeria, have visited various communities throughout the state to ascertain where certain vegetables could be cultivated in commercial quantities and provide crucial training and orientation that will make the farm produce from the state conform to international specifications.
I'm grateful to the governor for taking the initiative to want to propel this beautiful state to the world. Our purpose here today was to come and see where the ugu that was sent to the UK came from. I work with schools and with the market in the UK, and I was so impressed with the quality of the ugu that came out of Anambra State. I wanted to come and see the people who actually produce these beautiful products and see how we can work together to get this out to the world markets.
Anambra farmers are fast adopting the best practices in cultivating crops in a manner that has met international standards for export.
First thing we have to do to export agricultural product, or maybe let me put it this way, vegetables. You have to have some kind of certification. The farmers have to know the do's and the don'ts involved in what they are into or what they are about to go into. So the first thing we did, getting these farmers trained and certified.
Journey to this remarkable feat started when Governor Obiano made agriculture the #1 pillar of his economic blueprint.
So it was obvious to me that he needed a very clear roadmap, and that was somebody who was trying to chart a new way of administration, not just the normal, you come in traditionally, you keep this. He needed to have milestones so as to assess himself and be able to know that he's doing the right thing or not.
Flagging off the 2016 farming season, the governor gave out checks ranging from 300,000 naira to 5 million naira to cooperatives registered with the Ministry of Agriculture, Mechanization, Processing and Export engaged in the agric value chain. The checks were drawn from the 1 billion naira microcredit scheme of the Central Bank of Nigeria, which is competently managed by an agency set up by the governor known as the Anambra Small Business Agency, ASBA. In specific terms, Anambra has attracted $1.11 billion worth of investment in agriculture, with rice and cassava production increasing by the day. To encourage local farmers, outgrowers have been persuaded to form cooperatives, register with the Ministry of Agriculture, Mechanization, Processing and Export in order to enjoy government incentives. The cooperatives are monitored real-time through the ministry's robust online platform. The state government's collaboration with Koshed Farms is a realization of Governor Obiano's goal of collaborating with the private sector in driving his agricultural revolution. Recently, Anambra State made headlines when the National Task Force to drive production of rice and wheat stormed the state on a fact-finding mission. The team toured the farm's large expanse of rice field where harvesting was presently going on with a large combined harvester.
What is important here, ladies and gentlemen, is to let you know there's an Anambra rice.
That's right.
And that Anambra rice, most of the paddy from that comes from this farm to do Anambra rice. So look out for Anambra rice everywhere and taste the real rice.
He also said that the state was speedily approaching its consumption capacity and would soon start producing enough to export to other states. In response, the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Chief Ogbe, said he was encouraged by the government's efforts, adding that with what is happening in Anambra, the country would stop importing rice soon.
And I'm very proud of Kostiaris and the effort the governor is making to support him. In another year, we shall have no need to import 1 grain of rice into this country. In fact, we may stop rice importation sooner than that. It's a final word I'm telling you. Because Nigerians are proving that they can do it.
From Kostiaris farms in Anaku to the rice farms in Omo, also in Ayamelon local government area, the task force met with members of the Rice Farmers Association in the state at the Omo rice fields. In a show of appreciation, Governor Obiano, on behalf of the rice growers, presented to the members of the task force bags of Anambra-made stone-free rice, ready for the market.
So, Mr. President, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Muhammadu Buhari, so that Anambra rice will be what they will be eating in the villa. So, to the President, thank you.
Thank you very much. We shall make sure this rice is delivered to the President.
Thank you.
And when next time you see him, and he looks a bit taller than he is.
Anambra can now boast of large industrial farms run by Koshed and Joseph Agro Limited. The partnership has increased local rice production from 80,000 metric tons to 210,000 metric tons, far exceeding the projected metric tons for the year, with an increase being expected at the end of the 2016 farming season. Anambra will soon surpass the annual figures of 320,000 metric tons of rice consumed in the state. It's just a matter of time. Similarly, Del Farm Limited, in conjunction with Songhai Regional Center, is cultivating highly lucrative cash crops with the intention of developing a local full-scale multi-farm business concern which will combine agricultural technology, industry and hospitality services. The good news from Del Farm is that Anambra State has now started producing wheat in commercial quantity. The other good news is that very soon, the sorghum produced in Del Farm in Ibariam shall be used in brewing beer in Sabmila breweries in Onitsha. That is the power of vision. At the same time, Anambra State has linked 3,000 cooperatives to institutions offering credit facilities such as FADAMA and the International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD. 2,000 hectares of land have been developed, with 58,000 farmers now having access to modern irrigation schemes to encourage dry season farming.
So what we've done is we've worked with programs like IFAD to develop irrigation sites, and also working with also some of the machineries that he's also been able to fund for us to manage these environments. There in Anako, we've developed about 10 hectares that would work with IFAD value chain to develop that environment for our farmers to see the genuineness and the production capacity and the yield that will come out of irrigated environment. And so most of our farmers are tagging onto that. And what we had also done is, in regards to also cassava, is we've looked at these environments, and we've also, His Excellency has also funded us, working in partnership with IITA and Harvest Plus, to provide high variety cassava stems that we've distributed to these environments, dry season farming environments, such that by next year, Anambra State would not lack high variety stems, because we're using this farmer-to-farmer contact scheme to develop that.
Indeed, the fire of the agricultural revolution kindled by Governor Willie Obiano in Anambra State continues to rage as more investors are coming to take advantage of the rich potentials of the state. By making education one of his key developmental enablers, Governor Willie Obiano has shown that he understands the importance and benefits of proper and qualitative education as a panacea for our sustainable developed state.
Education for Chief Dr. Willie Obiano is a very strong enabler. An enabler is an energizer. An enabler is actually the foothold of the pillars, because the stronger the enabler is, the stronger will the pillars be. So for Chief Dr. Willie Obiano, he has a clearly defined blueprint about what education should be. One of our strategic objectives is that the learning needs of all must be met through equitable distribution of resources, very important, and ensuring that you are one of the 3 top states with the lowest illiteracy rate.
This was recently reaffirmed by the presentation of checks of 150 million naira and 215 million naira to Anglican and Catholic churches respectively for the running of mission schools in the state. It is also on record that in 2015, the governor doled out a whopping 730 million naira to mission schools to improve the quality of education and maintain the excellent performance already achieved in the educational sector of the state. On its own part, the Obiano-led administration has constructed and renovated over 1,000 classroom blocks throughout the state. It must be stated that Governor Willie Obiano made history when in March 2015, he sent 23 teachers from vocational schools to Singapore to learn the global best practices in vocational education that will help them prepare Anambra children for the challenges of an increasingly competitive world. This has sharpened their competence and overall ability to deliver on their jobs. Governor Obiano even went further to declare free tuition in all its technical colleges, which is the reason for the increased enrollment figures being currently witnessed in vocational schools across the state.
As for me, I said, our going there, coming back, that the technical colleges must change. I was determined. Since His Excellency bought out a huge sum of money to send me there, to send the teachers there, we don't have a choice than to make it work in Anambra State. And that is what we are doing.
He has also declared free education for all physically challenged children in the state and increased the subvention of special schools for the physically challenged from 50,000 to 500,000 naira. In recognition of his efforts in the education sector, Governor Obiano also bagged 2 awards: the most primary education-friendly governor of the year and the pillar of education development in 2015. Governor Obiano outshone other governors in the federation to clinch these awards. The state-owned higher institutions are also getting attention as Governor Obiano has increased the subvention of Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu University and Nwaforizu College of Education in Sube to 150 million naira and 90 million naira respectively. In addition, the governor also ensured that not only the College of Medicine of Odumegwu Ojukwu University gained full accreditation, but gave automatic employment to the pioneer medical doctors who graduated this year after spending 10 years pursuing a medical degree in the university. Governor Obiano also ensured the tertiary institutions in the state have access to the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, TET Fund, which was surprisingly not fully accessed since 2009. Now, there is a massive construction of new structures going on in schools across the state.
The government of Anambra State presently is committed and serious about education generally in Anambra. And from what we are seeing on the ground in this college, we think that the commitment on teacher education is even greater than what it was before.
As in other areas, Governor Willie Obiano has also left his imprint on road construction in Anambra State. However, even in this all-important segment, Obiano's approach is very strategic. Work on the 42-kilometer road to the oil wells of Aguleri continues, and with the completion of this 250-meter bridge over the Omambala River, the longest bridge in Anambra history and longest in the southeast, the people in Eziagulotu, Aguleriotu and Enugotu will be properly connected. The road would not only provide access to Anambra's oil fields, but will also link up farmlands, making the evacuation of produce to larger markets easier. When completed, the road will also provide a short link to Nsukka in Enugu State and parts of Kogi State, respectively. Meanwhile, the Amawbia-Amansi Road Project, one of the many federal roads being reconstructed by the state government, inches closer to completion with well over 80% of the work done. To ensure that Anambra maintains its status as the state that has the best network of roads, the governor initiated the Zero Potholes Initiative. Indeed, Governor Obiano has kept his continuity promise to continue, complete, commission, and commence new projects. Under his watch, most roads initiated by the previous administration are ongoing, while some have been completed and commissioned. Governor Obiano has continued to blaze a trail of excellence in the health sector with the robust partnership the state has with an American healthcare firm, Rise Health Corporation. The partnership signifies a whole paradigm shift in successive interventionist efforts by the Anambra State government and the beginning of a historic healthcare re-engineering project that will usher in a new phase of excellent Medicare in the rural areas of the state. Under the auspices of the Anambra Business Coalition, ABC, the Orumba General Hospital, one of the 4 health institutions benefiting from the partnership, has been renovated, equipped with modern facilities and commissioned. The health institution is currently providing affordable health care to Anambra in Orumba North and South and environs. Other facilities run by ABC include the Rise Clinic Adaziani and the Rise Clinic Onitsha.
Actually, this is implementation of His Excellency Chief Dr. Willie Obiano's blueprint because from evidence-based, it is known that government alone cannot finance hospitals. And that's why I started going beyond government alone. We begin to involve private, and that's why I have a public-private partnership. We want to experiment on this, and I'm happy today that I've been able to get something like this.
In the same vein, the Obiano administration under a public-private partnership will upgrade Onitsha, Enugu, and Ekwulobia General Hospitals to world-class health institutions. Other health institutions in Umunze and Atani have been refurbished and are ready to deliver qualitative health care. Those in the riverine areas of the state recently heaved a sigh of relief when Chief Willie Obiano fulfilled his promise by launching 7 water ambulances to make transportation a lot easier for the waterside communities. This is a great innovation in successive interventionist efforts by the state government to open up the riverine communities, most of which have been cut off from the rest of the state by the lack of access to modern water transportation system. Keeping his promise to take the plight and challenges of the business and industrial communities in the state to the federal government, Chief Willie Obiano hosted Professor Yemi Osibanjo, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, on a fact-finding mission to the state. Vice President Professor Yemi Osibanjo took the one-day industrial visit to inspect some major industries in Onitsha and in Nnewi. He also performed groundbreaking ceremony for a new distillery and commissioned a refinery and fractionation plant. Vice President Osibanjo expressed satisfaction with the level of development in the state, saying Anambra is the hub of industrialization.
In fact, the reason why I'm here, personally, and I'm not listening to, not hearing of it, is because I want to see firsthand in what ways we can support industry. And certainly we'll be looking at all of the various options, power, foreign exchange, and capital. And in what ways we can even support the young men and women who need to get employed in these various concerns that are here. So this is absolutely important for us. That's why I'm here.
In Awka, the state capital, the VP held a town hall meeting with key stakeholders in the state. Addressing the forum, Governor Obiano said the visit was in line with his meeting with industrialists in the state to fashion out ways to cushion the effects of the economic crunch and to give them soft landing on foreign exchange by the federal government. Determined to make Anambra an investment destination and a hub for commercial activity, the Obiano administration has donated 80 hectares of land to the federal government. This parcel of land is the proposed site for an automotive park, which is a partnership between the state and the federal government with the intention of enhancing the industrial revolution that is going on in the state.
One of the goals I had and I still have is to see Anambra State industrialized to its fullest potential. And because I know by doing that, we'll be industrializing Nigeria. And in order to do that, there is absolutely no question that you need special economic zones and industrial parks, such as the one that we are bringing to life today. And the reason is quite straightforward, that these industrial parks will provide the enabling environment for the entrepreneurs and industrialists and manufacturers. The other reason why such a park and such an initiative is essential is the importance of partnership.
Governor Obiano thanked the 3 communities that donated the land, which are Akwihedi and Unubi in Nnewi South local government area and Oga in Agwata local government area. However, the governor added that the land was donated free of charge and has no condition attached, but warned that the C of O bears a caveat which says that the land must be developed within 18 months. Oil and gas is one of the 4 pillars of the Obiano administration. Consequently, Governor Obiano has been working tenaciously with the federal government to ensure that Anambra is listed as an oil-producing state since he assumed office. Statistics show that besides oil, Anambra has the highest deposit of natural gas. This is one endowment which Obiano intends to exploit to the fullest for the accelerated development of the state.
You may not know, but Anambra State holds most of the gas in the country, in Nigeria, but none of it is developed. Right now, we are working on the Alo-1 well. At the current time, we are producing something like 3 million standard cubic feet of gas per day. But once we complete the working of that well, we are going to be able to be producing something like 30 million standard cubic feet of gas per day. That is very helpful.
One key enabler for industrializing the economy is the provision of stable electric power to industries. Although not in the purview of state governments, the Obiano administration is determined to facilitate the availability of adequate power supply to industrial parks, as well as creating bankable power generating clusters in industrial layouts and farming settlements in the state.
Power also involves dealing with a third party, Enugu Electricity Distribution Company, that has taken its time to enter into certain agreements with would-be investors. So we're looking at how to solve the power problem.
Indeed, Governor Obiano is determined to improve power supply to all areas. The state is collaborating with the power distribution companies, DISCOs, and facilitated the completion of an NIPP 2x7.5 MVA injection substation that will supply power to 4 feeders at Abagana, Enugu, Nimo, and Upo. This is in addition to expanding the 33 kV line going to Anambra North and installing over 250 transformers in areas where needed.
But what government does is intervention, because the governor believes to do the best for the people of Anambra State. So he's always directing that we do intervention, especially in the rural areas, which is rural electrification.
Desirous of providing clean potable water to Anambra, the governor has continued the rehabilitation and reactivation of the various water schemes all around the state. Those in the rural areas, especially riverine, are now enjoying clean water powered by a solar system. He has also ensured that Anambra has paid its EU counterpart funding fully and is willing to increase the state's quota to get more water projects from the Anambra. Quite interestingly, Anambra State holds a significant number of small and medium enterprises, SMEs, in the country, with Onitsha being the largest retail market in West Africa and Nnewi boasting of numerous industries. SMEs constitute over 60% of the economy of the state. SMEs are the drivers of the economy, a truism which Willie Obiano fully understands. To midwife the emergence of a more robust SME-driven economy in the state, Governor Obiano created the Anambra Small Business Agency, ASBA. The agency acts as a catalyst for job creation and inclusive economic growth in Anambra State, with the intermediate objective to ensure that accessible funds get to the small and medium businesses, thus creating more employment and making Anambra State the hub for SME empowerment in the nation. Following the dictates of Governor Obiano's economic blueprint, the state government has disbursed 1 billion naira to companies engaged in all aspects of the agricultural value chain. Trade and commerce, industries and services were funded in the first phase of the SME loan scheme, with 45% in manufacturing and industry, 33% in agriculture, 12% in trade and commerce, and 10% in the service industries. In a further bid to engage the youths, Governor Obiano has repositioned the Ministry of Youth Empowerment and Sports Development. This ministry has created a framework which will train, retrain, and empower the youth in diverse vocations ranging from carpentry, automobile technology, and farming, in order to create a pool of youths who will either be entrepreneurs or employable in the many industries coming up in Anambra State. In just 2 years, the wife of the governor of Anambra State, Chief Mrs. Ebelechukwu Obiano Usudieme, has left a huge legacy as a woman with a heart of gold. A compassionate woman, she has also brought smiles back to the faces of children by sponsoring scores of surgeries to correct the cleft palates of children, giving them a new sense of belonging. She also provided hundreds of prosthetic limbs and mobility aids, which were handed out free of charge to the physically challenged. Osodieme took several steps deeper into her determination to touch lives by building and handing the keys of modern houses to indigent widows in the state. Osodieme's interventionist efforts are rooted through her NGO, the Caring Family Enhancement Initiative, CAFE. There are 15 houses in the first phase of the CAFE housing project for indigent widows. Osodieme has handed over the completed ones in Agolo, Nri, Alo, Omonia, while more houses are still under construction across the 3 senatorial zones of Anambra State.
I believe that if I give an indigent widow a roof over her head, I have actually met almost 90% of her needs, because you need a decent roof over your head to be able to think, well. That's the only time you can think properly of how you're going to help yourself, what you can do to support your children. So I felt that giving these women a roof over their heads would go a long way to solving their problems.
To promote hygiene in the marketplaces, preserve the dignity of the rural women, and help forestall the incidence of communicable diseases, the Cafe Market Toilets project is providing conveniences which include modern facilities for both female and male, with a borehole to supply water. These are being executed in select rural markets in communities across the 3 senatorial districts of Anambra State. Another major achievement worth mentioning is the huge successes of the Cafe Skill Acquisition Program. Mrs. Obiano has provided training for over 1,000 in the Anambra in tailoring and fashion design, bakery and confectionery, soap making, hairdressing and beauty therapy, as well as community health services to promote safe health practices in hard-to-reach areas. After the training, they are empowered with equipment in their chosen field, and seed money to take off and make a living is given to them. No less profound also is the Home for the Mentally Challenged, which Osodieme set up with the assistance of her husband in Nteje, Oyi local government area. This uncommon facility has touched the lives of over 68 inmates who arrived the home as mental patients, with about 25 later reunited with their families as normal members of the society. Chief Mrs. Ebelechukwu Obiano has been appointed the Ambassador of the European Union and UNICEF, honored with the 2016 Excellent Award by the Nigerian Women Association of Atlanta, Georgia. To crown it all, the state of Georgia, USA, awarded Osodieme the status of an honorary citizen of Georgia. On the whole, in just 2 years and a few months, Governor Willie Obiano and his wife Ebelechukwu have indeed built monuments in the hearts of the people and have set new parameters for excellence in public service.
I hope the personal opinion that Governor Obiano was a phenomenon that was foretold as a governor, because Anambra State, part of Nigeria with recession and very difficult economic times, require people like him that are structured, methodical. In fact, I say Obiano practices what you can call in development paradigm gradual incrementalism, development methodically structuredly over time. Leaders that are visionaries talk less and do more. If you notice Obiano in the past 3 years, he has spoken less, but he has done more, meaning he builds block by block the big picture that he has developed in his mind.
We come into ESCO about 9 o'clock. Sometimes we finish 4, 5. The most you see him do is drink coffee, and he's going. He's talking, he's listening, he's participating, and trying to make decisions and way forward to make things move in our state. You see the energy, you see the zeal to get things done. And It's incredible. I find it interesting. It's quite commendable. That's why I consider his style of governance the way it ought to be. This is what should be practiced in the federal government. This is what all the states should also practice.
Happily, their good work has not gone unnoticed. The wonderful couple have been decorated with so many awards. Governor Obiano has won the Sun Governor of the Year and the Zik Prize for Leadership, among numerous other awards.
We know that Governor Obiano has been one of the most impactful governors in the current dispensation. He's a very serious man, and since his assumption of leadership in Anambra State, we have seen changes in the direction of governance. We have seen seriousness focused on the development of infrastructure. We have seen prudence in the management of the resources of Anambra State.
They deserve the support of all well-meaning Nigerians to continue the great tradition of purposeful governance they have started.